So today we'll start off with endometrial carcinoma. We have three, four small topics before we can go into tumors of ovarian cyst and ovarian tumors. We'll try to complete those small topics first. Tomorrow we'll look at the tumors and all. Now, first of all, talking about endometrial carcinoma, of endometrium. Now, this has become more common as of late because of the longevity of a woman's life. Normally, पहले के दिनों में उतने ज़्यादा रहते नहीं थे. Okay, women did not used to live for as long for them to, or at least for the incidence of carcinoma of endometrium to present as much. Nowadays, because the longevity has increased quite a lot because of drugs and because of various medical procedures, and in general because of a rise in longevity, uh, older women have started to present with more and more cases of endometrial carcinoma. Peak incidence of endometrial carcinoma occurs in their 60s and 70s. Okay, sixth or seventh decade of their life, and it is very rare to find patients with endometrial carcinoma who are younger than 40 years of age. Okay, mostly occurs in people who are older than 40, specifically peak incidence around 60s and 70s. Though the exact cause is not known, how this carcinoma is developing, there is an increased frequency. There are few factors that will cause increased frequency of endometrial carcinoma. Excessive amount of estrogen, whether it be physiological or it might be pharmacological as well. So, for example, let's suppose a lady is taking estrogen supplements for whatever reason, uh, obesity, hypertension, diabetes, and nulliparostate. Nulliparostate essentially refers to a condition where a lady has not given birth to a child. Okay, any lady who is not given birth to children, those are nulliparous individuals. Okay, now pathologically, you will see two type of patterns in the tumor itself. It will present as two patterns in carcinoma of endometrium. It can be a diffuse tumor that is going in deeper, or it might be sometimes a polyploid type of tumor. Okay. In any case, this tumor will start protruding into the endometrial cavity. Okay, and the mass that you see will be grayish in color, irregularly shaped, very what do you call, friable. It will break down very easily. That mass, the tumor that is growing, will be irregular, friable, and it will be grayish tan in color. Okay, in case the disease is becoming advanced, let's suppose you are not able to detect in the early stages and it is going into advanced disease, at that time what happens is this carcinoma will go beyond the physiological this thing limits of your uterus, in the sense that it will start going into the this thing cervical canal par karke it will go into the peritoneum. If it is going into advanced stages, the tumor will grow so much that it will start entering into the peritoneum. Now, most endometrial carcinomas, almost all endometrial carcinomas are adenocarcinomas. They arise from glands. Okay. Now, depending on the pattern of glands, you can have it depending on pattern of glands and individual cells that are present inside this carcinoma. You might have a fully developed, well differentiated carcinoma. So you will have completely well differentiated glandular tissue. The tumor itself will be completely glandular. In case of well differentiated tumor, sometimes you can have a moderately differentiated tumor. Moderately differentiated tumor may you will have a little bit of glandular part and a little bit of solid area. Okay, then completely undifferentiated may it will be predominantly solid. It will be a solid tumor kind of thing. Okay. Clinically, the patient will appear to have abnormal bleeding. Okay. They might even have an abnormal pap smear. So those are two presentations that a person with carcinoma of endometrium will show: abnormal pap smear and abnormal bleeding. Then we come to vesicular mole. Next topic. Very small topics are vesicular mole. Now, vesicular mole essentially refers to, see, I'll show you how a vesicular mole looks. Mm, yeah. It's called molar pregnancy. Essentially यहाँ पर एक vesicular mole हो रहा. So it essentially means that there is cystic swelling, cell swelling of the chorionic villi. So chorionic villi are essentially these are chorionic villi. In case you don't remember, this is chorionic villi near your placenta. यहाँ पर छोटे छोटे जो blood vessels रहते हैं उन लोगों को chorionic villi बोलते हैं. In a vesicular mole, there will be cystic swelling of your chorionic villi. ठीक है, and there will be trophoblastic proliferation along with this, a lot of growth in the trophoblastic area, and generally this vesicular mole is a precursor for choriocarcinoma. ठीक है, patients who are about to develop choriocarcinoma or who have choriocarcinoma, उनके अंदर there is a chance that they have a history of vesicular mole. Now, generally these moles will present in roughly around 4th to 5th month of pregnancy. So at 4th or 5th month of pregnancy, you will see swelling inside the uterus of that mother. Okay. And it will be a very weird kind of swelling. Cells will swell up. There will be fluid filled up inside. Chorionic villi will go up, and you will see vaginal bleeding. Now you can have benign non-invasive moles or which are complete and partial. Okay, there are two different types of moles. They can be complete moles or they can be partial moles. All right. Complete moles generally कैसा होता है बोले तो one or two sperms, they will fertilize that egg, and that egg would have lost its chromosome. ठीक है, the egg that is being fertilized, generally that egg will have lost its chromosome. So the genetic material that will make up the cell, that will make up the fetus itself, will be damaged. That is the complete type of mole. ठीक है, genetic material will be completely paternal in that scenario. Partial mole में the egg will have normal chromosomes, but it is fertilized by a diploid or a haploid sperm. One haploid sperm, or two haploid sperms, or a single diploid sperm. In any case, what you will end up with is a triploid complement genetic material. Again, a genetic problem is occurring wherein the fetus will not be normal. Okay, the genetic material of the fetus will not be normal. Now, grossly, if you look at the pathological changes that are occurring in the uterus, you will see that यहाँ पर several thin-walled, small molar structures can be seen. They'll be translucent, cystic. Essentially, these are cells that are swelling up. Okay, they will look like grapes. Okay, small grapes जैसे दिखते हैं ये. Fetal parts are rarely seen, especially in complete moles. Fetal parts are rarely seen. More common in case the patient has partial moles. ठीक है, you will see complete moles will show hydropic swelling. The villi will have fluid filled inside them. That is why it is called hydropic filling. ठीक है, जो कोरियोनिक विलाय रहता उसके अंदर पानी भर जाता. Okay, not water per se, but fluid will fill up. Okay, and vascularization of villi will be improper because of this. You'll see a lot of trophoblast proliferation occurring there. So that is essentially a vesicular mole. Okay, then we have choriocarcinoma. Now, choriocarcinoma is a malignant tumor. This generally occurs in 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 30,000 women. Occurs in 1 in 20K to 1 in 30K women. Okay. Uh, Now, 1 in 20K to 1 in 30K in US, at least 1 in 20K to 1 in 30K pregnancies in US. It is much more common in Asian and African countries. Okay. Uh, about 50% of choriocarcinoma arises from hydatidiform mole. So what happens is there is abnormally fertilized egg, or there is overgrowth of tissue from the placenta that is causing hydatidiform mole, special form mole called hydatidiform mole. Okay. 50% of the cases में the patient has hydatidiform mole where there is improperly fertilized egg or overgrowth of that fetus, especially overgrowth of the tissue from the placenta. In 25% of cases, there is abnormal this thing abortions will occur, previous abortions. So patients who have had previous abortions, in those people there is a 25% chance that they will develop choriocarcinoma, placental carcinoma essentially. Sometimes normal pregnancy में भी हो सकता, 22% of times in normal pregnancy. Okay, the rest will be ectopic pregnancy. So the most common type or the most common reason where the patient is having choriocarcinoma will be hydatidiform mole, where there is abnormal fertilized egg and growth of that abnormally fertilized egg is causing choriocarcinoma. Uh, Sometimes 25% of the times it is a case where the person, that lady, has had previous abortions. 22% of the time it is normal pregnancy. Rest of the time, the 3% that is left, that will be ectopic pregnancy or implantation that is occurring other than uterus. We'll discuss about that as well. Now, grossly, the tumor that will occur, very big tumor will occur. Okay, very large tumor, large, soft, yellow, uh, yellowish white. Actually, it will not be completely yellow. It will be yellowish white and fleshy tumor. Okay. Generally, you will not be able to see that yellowish white discoloration until unless you wash that tumor. Okay. There will be a lot of necrosis and hemorrhage in that side, so it will appear blackish red, like completely red or with a few spots of black. Until or unless you are completely washing the tumor, that is when you will be able to see. You'll not be able to see yellowish if you don't wash. अगर wash करके clearly देखे तो yellowish white kind of tumor दिखता. And essentially there are abnormal proliferation of cytotrophoblasts and syncytial trophoblasts. So abnormal proliferation of cytotrophoblasts and syncytiotrophoblasts. Okay. So the tumor itself will be made up of either syncytiotrophoblasts or it will be made of this thing, syncytio, right? Syncytiotrophoblasts. Um, syncytio- yeah. So now what happens is that because this tumor is occurring near the endometrium, it will be underlying the endometrium. It will start penetrating into blood vessels and it will start penetrating into the lymphatic tissue. Once it starts penetrating into those areas, it can metastasize very easily. Initially there'll be a very big tumor on the uterus. Okay. And as it keeps on growing, it will start putting pressure on the nearby area. It will start invading the nearby area. Specifically, it will start invading endometrium. ठीक है, पेरीमेट्रियम, मायोमेट्रियम, एंडोमेट्रियम, जो तीन layers है uterine wall के, it will start penetrating into the endometrium and it will enter into the blood vessels and lymph capillaries, lymphatics of this thing, of the endometrium. As such, what will happen is, as the cells of these tumors are entering that area, they can metastasize to lung, to bone marrow, liver, other organs, and they'll start growing there. Okay? So that is one big problem of choriocarcinoma. Generally, the patient will present with vaginal bleeding. The patient will have vaginal bleeding, irregular bleeding, that too, and you will see discharge. Now, as such, in a pregnant lady, having discharge is fine. But what happens is, uh, see, this kind of discharge will uh, will be seen in normal pregnancy, and this discharge is generally characteristic of a miscarriage. Meaning, after a miscarriage, the type of discharge that occurs, that will occur in a normal pregnancy. That is an indication that the patient is having choriocarcinoma. Meaning, let us suppose someone has miscarriage. After miscarriage, there will be certain amount of discharge, certain type of discharge. That type of discharge will start appearing in a normal pregnancy. That is when you'll suspect the patient is having choriocarcinoma combined with vaginal bleeding. Okay, so vaginal bleeding plus discharge will generally indicate choriocarcinoma. Then we have ectopic gestation or ectopic pregnancy, whatever you call it. Ectopic pregnancy denotes implantation of the embryo in sites where other than the uterus. Essentially, see, there are several sites where it can get implanted. Yeah, देखो. So ectopic pregnancy can get implanted, the embryo itself can get implanted anywhere else other than proper uterus itself. It is getting implanted in other areas. And the most common place will be fallopian tubules. 90% of the time, it will get implanted in the fallopian tubules. Rarely, it will get implanted in the ovary or sometimes in abdominal cavity as well. Now, depending on where it is getting implanted, you can have different outcomes as well. Okay. Now, there are a few predisposing factors or risk factors essentially that can cause ectopic pregnancy. So for example, one such factor is PID refers to pelvic inflammatory disease. The patient has infections essentially. ठीक है, infections of reproductive organs specifically, candida infection है, thrush है, whatever STDs, wherever reproductive organs are having infections, especially with significant amount of inflammation, that will pose as a predisposing factors for these people to have ectopic pregnancy. Yeah, the patient has chronic salpingitis. Salpingitis refers to a condition where the fallopian tubules get inflamed. It can be because of various reasons, but salpingitis, essentially, the term salpingitis means inflammation of your fallopian tubes. Okay. If the patient is having chronic salpingitis, sometimes if there are tubular adhesions, that can also lead to ectopic gestation. But the most common one is PID, inflammatory diseases, especially infections of the reproductive organs. Sometimes, 50% of the times, it will occur in normal tubes. So even if the patient is completely normal, if their fallopian tubules are completely normal, there's no problem in their uterus altogether. Even then, they can have ectopic pregnancy. Now, especially if it is occurring in the tubule, fallopian tubule, which is the most common, there are four outcomes that can occur. Okay? If the patient is having a tubular pregnancy, or let's suppose they are having pregnancy in their fallopian tubules, ectopic pregnancy here, the implantation is occurring in their fallopian tubes, there will be four outcomes. So, pregnancy in, just writing it as FT, okay? Fallopian tubes, there will be four outcomes. First of all, there can be hemorrhage. Okay? Intratubular hemorrhage, because of which you can have a hematosalpinx. Inside the tubule, blood will start to accumulate. I think I have an image. One second. Uh, One second. Okay, no, I don't think I downloaded it. Okay, no problem. So as I was saying, sometimes what happens is, let's suppose आपका fallopian tubule ऐसा है, ठीक है? Let's suppose this is the lining of your uterus. ऐसा जा रहा, the fallopian tubule that is going towards the ovary. Now what happens is, whenever implantation is occurring here, let us suppose implantation occurs here, okay, or it occurs here specifically rather than there, okay. What will happen is, this will start causing intratubular hemorrhage. Blood will start leaking out in the tubule, and because of this blood, what will happen is that blood will start accumulating in the area. You will see that this area will bulge and it will distort in a way. So what will happen is, यहाँ पर you will see the fallopian tube itself will bulge in a very weird way. ठीक है, blood will start accumulating in this area. So यहाँ पर, here you will see a lot of blood being accumulated. ठीक है, there is tubular damage occurring, and that tubular damage is essentially causing blood to get accumulated inside the tubule. That phenomena where, you know, blood is being accumulated inside your fallopian tubule, bleeding into the fallopian tubules, is called hematosalpinx. That is the first outcome. Sometimes it can be intraperitoneal hemorrhage as well. What can happen is, these tubes are completely rupturing, the fallopian tubes are completely rupturing, and surrounding the fallopian tube will be your peritoneum, ठीक है, the abdomen essentially. So what happens is कभी अगर उसमें bleeding हुआ तो the blood will start flowing out and bleeding out into the peritoneum. Essentially there'll be intraperitoneal hemorrhage. That is the emergency condition. अगर intraperitoneal area में hemorrhage होने लगा and blood starts getting accumulated, it can lead to shock, ठीक है. Then there can be spontaneous regression. Third outcome, so second outcome is intraperitoneal hemorrhage, where the tubule is rupturing, and that ruptured tubule is essentially causing blood to flow out into the peritoneum. Then spontaneous regressions. These spontaneous regressions will generally be accompanied by resorption of products of conception. So essentially what will happen is placenta or fetal tissue जो रहता, that will remain inside the uterus after miscarriage. Once the person has miscarriage, after that placenta and fetal tissue will remain inside their uterus. That is resorption of products of conception. Product of conception will be your fetus, ठीक है. Conception हुआ बोले तो that fetus is being it is in the process of getting implanted into your uterus. Now resorption of the products of conception refers to a condition where the patient has already undergone miscarriage, but that miscarriage is kind of weird, wherein the products of the conception will remain. So some products, not all, maybe some certain tissues of the fetus will remain, placental tissues might remain, okay. Sometimes the pregnancy will be terminated in between. Sometimes, very rarely, they will also have a normal pregnancy, ठीक है. Normal pregnancy हुए बाद भी there might be a few products of that fetus that might be left inside the patient's uterus, ठीक है. That is the third outcome of ectopic pregnancy. Finally, extrusion into the abdominal wall or abdominal cavity, better, ठीक है. इसको ट्यूबल अबॉर्शन भी बोलते हैं. एसेंशियली यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा, ectopic pregnancy is occurring in fallopian tubules, right? That fallopian tubules will rupture in such a way that the fetus which got implanted in the fallopian tubule, that will end up in the abdomen or peritoneal cavity. Now tubal rupture, or this condition where extrusion of the fetus is occurring in the abdominal cavity, is a medical emergency. They will have acute abdomen, a lot of abdominal pain, and they'll go into shock. Immediately you'll need to perform surgery and you'll need to remove the fetus or place the fetus in the uterus, okay, implant it again or do something, okay. Immediately you'll have to perform surgery in any case. One way of diagnosing if the patient might be heading towards this condition, tubal abortion ka, tubal rupture ka, will be by checking their HCG levels. Ever heard of this hormone HCG? When you read about implantation and when you read about this thing, I'm sure आप लोगों को last year जब female reproductive system पढ़ाए थे, I'm sure you must have come across this fellow, HCG. Placenta is responsible for production of HCG, quite a lot of HCG. Okay, this is called human chorionic gonadotropin hormone. A lot of HCG will be secreted by your placenta, especially during pregnancy. Okay. Now, in patients who are at a risk of tubular abortion, let's suppose they already have this thing, क्या बोलते हैं, ectopic pregnancy, it is already present in their fallopian tubules. You need to keep on checking the patient regularly. And let us suppose they are showing high levels of HCG, and you are seeing ultrasonic findings that ultrasonographic findings that fetus is trying to move out of the fetuses of the fallopian tubule. Essentially, if fallopian tubule is getting damaged in certain areas, and there is a chance that the fetus might go into the abdominal cavity, at that time you need to act before it actually goes out into the this thing, before it goes into the peritoneal cavity. Okay. And generally what happens is these, wherever there is a risk of tubular abortion, their chorionic villi will be absent. Okay. Decidual changes will occur. जो uterine cells रहते हैं, in that you will see changes. Certain cells of the wall will become extremely thin, and you will see that chorionic villi will become completely absent. So increased amounts of HCG, absence of chorionic villi, decidual changes, as well as you can also perform endometrial biopsy to see how their endometrium is, and you can also perform ultrasonography, see what the results are. All of this will prepare you for, tubular rupture, in case tubal rupture is occurring, so that you can act before the rupture can actually occur. Okay. So that is about ectopic gestation. Now we'll discuss about ovarian cyst and ovarian tumors tomorrow. You have quite a lot of tumors, because ovarian tumors hai, फिर breast cancer hai, and breast cancer itself is a quite a big topic. Okay, we'll discuss that tomorrow.